In today's video, I want to talk about the 4 things that I've learned about myself after being debt-free for 18 months. Hey y'all, so before I get this video started, let me give a quick shout out. These were the first 3 comments in my last video. If you want to be featured in my next video, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell and come show me some love when I drop a new video. What's up, you guys? It's KeAmber Vaughn, aka CoachKe, coming back to you with another video. If you are new to my channel, welcome, and if you're not new, welcome back. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and also tap the bell so that you are notified of every new video that I post. So as you guys can tell by the title of this video, in today's video, I'm going to talk about the 4 things that I've learned thus far about myself after being debt-free for 18 months. I became debt-free. It's really sad that I don't know the date. I just remember it was in May of 2018. It's December of 2019 as of me recording this video. I'm really bad with remembering dates. I can't even remember the day that I got engaged years ago. That's bad. I guess it wasn't that important. But as you guys can see by the setup, we are in my bathroom because I want to talk about these things while I'm trying out some new makeup. I just recently purchased the Juvia's Place I Am Magic Foundation in the color Burkina, and I also got the Magic Concealer in the shade 11. Sorry if you're not a makeup person. Honestly, I'm not either, but I have time to take it back tomorrow if I don't like it. So yeah, and I need to record this video because it's Vlogmas. So as of right now, the only thing I have on my face is the NYX Shine Killer primer, and then I have my brows done, and I use the Brow Zings in the color I don't know, I've had it so long that it's all off. But yeah, so I have that on, and then I've kind of highlighted around my eyebrows with the Born This Way Multi Sculpting Concealer in the color Maple. So I'm just going to play around with this because I don't know if I'm going to like the shade or not. I am going to go ahead really quick before I get started and compare it to the Born to Glow foundation that I love a whole lot to see. It's actually pretty close. It's just the undertone of this is a little different. So that's the one that I really like right there. And this is the new one that Juvia's. Ooh, that might be a little too pale. I don't know. We'll have to see when it dries down because it looks pretty similar actually. So yeah. So I wanted to make this video because a lot of people think that, oh, once you become debt-free, things really change. And some things do change, don't get me wrong, but a lot of things stay the same. So the first point that I want to make is that I have no more personal financial goals. And I think I realized this as I was making, what video was that? I think it was when I was making the video where I was going through my new, I think that might be too much. This is a full coverage foundation, so I don't want to use too much. But while I was making the walkthrough of my 2020 planner that I'll be using, I think that's when I realized that, man, like, I haven't had any financial goals in a long time. Now, while I was on my debt-free journey, I made it a point, like, to really make sure that I set financial goals every single month, whether it was, you know, saving a certain amount of money, paying a certain amount of debt off for that particular month, whatever. But I've literally not set any personal financial goals since. And honestly, I haven't really set any business goals since either, mainly because what I was doing in my businesses before, I had no interest in anymore, like, and still don't have any interest in. So setting goals for business was kind of like out of the question too, as far as at least that part of my business. And I really had trouble like gaining the confidence to go ahead and branch off from what I was doing previously. I mean, I have the confidence to do it now, and I've made the decision to do so. And that's why it's been taking me a long time to do certain things with my channel, because I'm like in the background trying to transition into doing things on my own. And it kind of sucks. Like when you're single, you don't really have anybody to help keep you pushing and stuff like that. It's really hard. And I think part of the thing of me not setting a lot of personal financial goals, or really just not having them, it's like my ultimate goal was to become debt free. And I felt like everything after that was easy as far as saving money and things like that. And for me, it has been easy. I reached $40,000 in my savings account. That was cool. The very next month it went down because I had to spend $600 from my medical sinking fund for contacts and an eye exam. Then I had to spend another $1,000 on a lifetime license for trading stuff. And guess what? I haven't traded, like, since a week after buying that, I haven't traded at all. This color might not be too bad, but yeah, so I just literally don't have any personal financial goals, and I really don't think it's a bad thing. I don't have them, and honestly, I don't really see a need for them at this point. I'm continuing to save money at a pretty good pace. I think maybe if like my financial habits started to change or something, then maybe I would start thinking about having personal financial goals, but I just don't, and it is what it is. So the second thing that I've learned about myself since becoming debt free is that the financial habits I've developed during my debt free journey are still here. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of had a feeling that they would stay here, to be honest with you, but I didn't know they were gonna stay like this. Like, part of me felt like when I became debt free that I would spend money a little bit more freely than I do right now, but it's the same. And honestly, I pretty much always had good habits besides, you know, when I got into all of that credit card debt and stuff like that. And I made a video about how I got into the credit card debt. At the time, I was making a lot of money in my business. And so because I had 0% interest credit cards, it was like, oh, you know, don't worry about it, I'll pay it next month. Don't worry about it, I'll pay it next month. The next thing you know, the promotional periods were over. I was in all of this debt, and my income pretty much drastically changed because I decided to walk away from that company and help start a whole new company. And that company I'm not really, even active in anymore. But at the time, I thought that it was a good move for me to do. Do I regret it? No. Because I feel like the experiences that I've had thus far is going to help me in the direction that I am wanting to go in my business and just in life, period. But it doesn't negate the fact that, you know, I had those habits. The bad habits are gone, but the good habits have stayed. So you guys know from watching me on a weekly basis, I don't spend a whole lot of money. Like, I can go without spending much past like groceries and maybe going out to eat a couple of times. I don't spend frivolously. And, you know, I think some people thought that, you know, I'm not really stingy with my money. I'm not going to call it stingy. I just think that when it comes to certain situations, when you help people out, you are creating an environment where they're always going to be looking for you to help them because they know that you have this and you have that going on and you're really good with your money. Well, one thing that I learned, I remember it was in a Steve Harvey stand-up years and years ago, like when I was in my early 20s. He basically was talking about how people from where he grew up, you know, were upset because he decided to move on and, you know, move out of the hood and not really help people out, whatever. And he's just like, listen, when you help out too many people, you're going to be just as broke as them. And I find that to be true. I have lent people money, ain't got it back yet. Some of them, it took them a year to even start paying me a dime. Okay. I have people who owe me money right now who still have not given me a dime. So that one habit of me like, oh, you know, I'm just going to give because people don't have it and I have it and it'll come back to me. And although it's come back to me, guess what? Some of it has not. So I just feel like, you know what? No, my answer is no. I ain't got it. I might have it, but I don't have it for you. But I still, luckily, don't spend crazy. Even if you're somebody who has like bad spending habits, by the time you become debt free, I promise you, after you have to make certain sacrifices that you see as temporary because, oh, well, you know, I just want to go ahead and get out of debt. But once I get out of debt, then I'm going to start doing this again. I promise you, some of those habits are now permanent. And it's a good thing that they're permanent because you really don't want to put yourself in a position or predicament where you're going back into debt because now I'm debt free and I'm having all of these crazy spending habits. But The good habits that you get along the way, I promise you, you'll keep them when you become debt free. Because I don't spend nothing. And I was never a big spender anyway, but now it's like, I'm starting to spend a little bit more freely, especially on Shein.com. I don't know, what that site is going to be the devil. It's going to be the devil for me. I think I like this, but I won't know for sure until I get under the lighting that I'm typically in, like when I record and stuff. But I think I like it. I think I like it. All right. Number 3. I have a love-hate relationship with budgeting. And I know that's going to come as a shock. Like, girl, what are you talking about? You always on here every single week budgeting and doing this and doing that. And you are right. But guess what? I don't necessarily like it. Y'all, I think I like this foundation. I'm going to put a little bit more on. So, my love-hate relationship with budgeting. So, I remember in the video that I made, I took too much out of there. When I talked about how I saved $10,000 in 10 months, I talked about my financial plan. Now, at the time, I did not reveal, it had been probably another year and a half before I revealed like how I actually budget in a detailed way that I show on my YouTube channel now. I just put a little bit more to get rid of the harsh line of the concealer. But at the time, that wasn't out. So the way that I described how my financial plan went, most people thought I was budgeting, and I literally wasn't. When I did my income allocation method, when I got paid on payday, when I knew how much was staying in my checking for my variable or fixed expenses, and I knew how much was going to savings, I sent whatever to savings, I sent whatever to debt as extra debt payments, and I stopped there. I was not using no expense trackers. I would look in my bank account pretty much every day just to make sure that nothing fraudulent was happening. But like tracking my expenses, caring what was going to groceries, what was going to personal household, I ain't do none of that. I ain't do none of it. Now, my love for it comes from the fact that I started doing the meticulous budgeting really as a way to hold myself accountable, like on YouTube, because most people, when they do budgets on YouTube, they do track their expenses. But the other thing was I hated during tax time, because I did have some income that came on a 1099 and a lot of those expenses were qualified for business expenses. I hated at the end of the year having to go back in 12 months worth of bank statements, highlighting stuff, and then like, And when I go here, sometimes I get business stuff, sometimes I don't. And having to remember back, that got annoying. So I started the expense tracking really to help me at the end of the year during tax time. And then it just turned into way more. So I love it from that standpoint, because knowing where your money is going is a great thing. Because knowing that $200 went to food rather than frivolous spending, that's a good thing. My hate for budgeting comes from the fact that I'm so anal and like so meticulous that sometimes it can be annoying. Y'all, it took me an hour on Wednesday plus an hour on Thursday to figure out why I was missing $20. And you guys know that I hate cash. And unfortunately, I had to use cash for something. And I literally sat there like, okay, my bank account says that I took $60 out. I know 25 went over here. I know I redeposited another 15. Where the hell did the other $20 go? It literally took me 2 hours between 2 days for me to finally have my epiphany like, oh, well, that $20, it went to repaying myself in the cash that I had over here for my Operation New Wardrobe. When I went out of town to Atlanta a couple of weeks ago, I decided, you know what, let me just take like $100 in cash just in case something happens. And so when me and my friend that Sunday before I came back, we went to Steak and Shake. We're in line. They tell us, oh, well, you can only have cash in the drive-thru, but if you want to use your card, you have to come in. I wasn't getting out. So I gave him $20. And when he was giving me the change back, I said, you keep the change. And he was like, what are you talking about? I'm like, listen, it's going to throw my budget off. You don't understand. Whatever this change is, just keep it. I worry about just, the fact that I just took $20 out. But then a couple weeks later, and the crazy thing is, I wrote the $20 expense in my expense tracker, but I couldn't figure out what this $20 was, this extra $20 when I withdrew $60 from the ATM. That kind of stuff is really annoying. Sometimes when I'm reconciling my budget at the end of the budget month, or not even at the end of the budget month, at the end of each week, sometimes I get hung up for like an hour, like, okay, why aren't these numbers working? Especially like, I think yesterday and today, I spent an insurmountable amount of time trying to reconcile everything because now I'm back to using credit cards. I'll make a video about that. So between reconciling my credit card and my regular bank account and why aren't the numbers, listen, that's the part of budgeting I don't like. I don't like it. I don't like it. I do not like it. But outside of that, I love it. And the last thing, as we are doing the last part of the makeup, being debt-free gives me the ability to work less while I figure out the direction of my life. And this is so crucial. So you guys know that I live with my parents. I have now been back living with them since September of last year. So it's been going on 15 months. And before, I used to always, like, whenever I lived outside of the house, I never lived outside of the house in my hometown until this past time. And I actually had someone living with me. And so when that person was no longer here, I didn't really feel comfortable living on my own. Like, I feel so much better knowing that my dad is around to protect us, you know, while I don't have a man to protect me or whatever. But also, I just had an epiphany, like, girl, you wasting money. Now, my parents been telling me for long, like years, y'all, like years, that I've been wasting money, living on my own. You know, you can always live here. And I'm thankful for it. Let me tell you, because I have some friends that were put out at 18 years old, put out at 21, and were never able to go back. And I'm sitting over here with family that'll let me come back home whenever the hell I want to. And I'm over here being stubborn, trying to be grown. Let me tell y'all, I don't want to be grown no more. I'm single. I ain't got no kids. I don't want to have no extra bills that are unnecessary. I do the same thing when I'm living on my own that I do here. I go to work, I play the video game, I'm out on vacation, or I'm sitting at home quiet in my room, not bothering anybody. Why do I need to pay $800, $1,000, $1,500 a month in rent to do what I would do here? And thankfully, my parents don't charge us for rent. That's their decision. I don't fight them on it. And that's that. But it's a really good thing because while I'm transitioning back into entrepreneurship, you guys know that I was out of nursing completely for 3 years. I think it was from July of 2013 until September of 2016. That's when I got hired at my job. But I wasn't really working for that first year after I got hired due to technicalities and stuff like that. Once I started working again, that's when I was like, you know what? I really don't like the businesses that I'm in. I've been missing nursing anyway. And that's really why I got back into nursing. I was missing my nursing career, as well as just not really liking the direction of my entrepreneurial career, being in network marketing, MLM, whatever, being at the top of companies, being founders of companies, all of that. I started hating it. My grandfather had died suddenly. That was a lot with the depression and stuff from that. And so it was just like, you know what? Let me just take a step back, focus on working like 2 to 3 days a week. Really, it was 1 to 2 days a week in nursing because at the time I still had a lot of business income coming in. So I could kind of like work both. And I was using that money to help me get out of debt. Once I became debt free, eventually I transitioned to where the little bit of business income that I still have coming in from network marketing, it goes to an LLC account. And then when I'm selling my planners and my program and stuff like that, that goes to an LLC account. And now all you guys see on my channel is just my nursing income. I only work 2 days a week. I work PRN. I make $30 an hour. I bring in $1166.25 every 2 weeks after taxes doing that. And it's a blessing, okay? It's a blessing to not have to still work full time at a job that I'm not really that fond of while I'm still trying to work on my business in the background or figure out the direction of my business. I love the fact that because I am debt free, and of course, because I'm grateful enough and lucky enough to not have to pay rent and big utilities like that. I'm grateful for the fact that that's going on because I'm afforded the ability to figure out my life. And it's crazy because for a long time, I thought I had my life figured out. Listen, I knew exactly what I wanted to do. And now I'm coming up on being 30 years old. I can't believe it. Oh my God, I'm gonna be 30. I'm hitting another milestone. But I'm at the point where now I kind of know what I want to do now, But for a while, I really didn't know. And I couldn't imagine if I still have $500 a month, $600, $800, over $800 a month in debt bills like I did when I started my debt-free journey. I can't imagine having that much in debt bills, still having regular monthly expenses, plus having regular variable monthly expenses on top of that while trying to figure my life out, while still living on my own. Like, that would be crazy and a wreck. Like, I would literally go crazy. So I've learned to really take advantage of, and I don't want to say, I'm not saying take advantage in a negative way. I'm saying take advantage of the circumstances and the things that I have around me and use that to my advantage. So to recap, y'all, I think I like this makeup, but I feel like it's a little too pale. Oh, maybe not. What y'all think? I don't know. So to recap, the first thing is that I have no more personal financial goals. I probably won't. I'll just keep saving money. And I do have certain business goals, but I'll talk about that in a different video. The financial habits I developed during my debt-free journey are still here. I still don't really spend a lot of money. I still save a significant amount of money. I think this month I saved 40-something% of my income, if I'm not mistaken. I have a love-hate relationship with budgeting. I'm going to keep budgeting. Don't worry. Y'all don't worry. I ain't going nowhere. And also, like I said, being debt-free gives me the ability to work less while I figure out the direction of my life. Some people are struggling to figure out the direction and they're still in debt, like up to their eyeballs. They don't have the ability to reduce some of their expenses like rent and stuff like that by living with people. And I'm grateful. So yeah, those are the 4 things that I learned about myself while being debt-free for 18 months. I now have a savings account still of over $40,000. Of course, my next goal is to hit 45, then 50 and stuff like that. But outside of that, I don't really have any more financial goals on the personal side. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them down below. Please thumbs up this video, subscribe if you haven't already. But other than that, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye guys.